But I think Minnesota's also suspect, to be honest with you.
Yeah, man, Minnesota is suspect, man, especially in crunch time. I don't really know about that for the T Wolves. They even showed it last night against the Clippers.
Yeah, and the Clippers is a team they should, bro. They're built good, but it's like those last 5 minutes, man. You like build doesn't even matter. Like how your team is constructed doesn't even matter. It matters about one guy who just takes over, man, and they've been suspect in that regard.
Yeah,
But
but
I
what
think it's also a growing period for them.
yeah, but what I could tell you about the Timberwolves is that they're kind of maneuvering while Anthony Edwards is still kind of learning the game on a high level. Like the
Well, that's because their
decisions he's
core is old,
making in
man.
crunch time is sometimes is suspect, man. It's very
Yeah,
suspect.
but they built them such an old team, right? Because this team, I think, what Carl Anthony Towns is in the prime of his career, and his game is geared. We're like, I don't think it could be ageless. But Rudy Gobert is kind of at the prime of his career, and Conley is kind of like dwindling at this point. So it's a team. It's a made now. It's a win now team. Let's just see how they do it. I think they did a good approach to it, though.
Oh
I think
yeah,
a
for
guy like
sure.
Anthony Edwards, he's a superstar. I do not see a point in trying to keep gathering assets and make trades. It's kind of pointless at that point. I also feel the same way about the Spurs. I think the Spurs should probably look into maybe building Wembanyama a play-in team or a possible playoff team eventually. I feel like you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like once you find a generational star, right?
Hmm.
I'm not talking about like an all-star, but a generational superstar. At that point, you should probably look into like, all right, how can we get this guy into the playoffs?
Yeah, but right now, like I said, with the T Wolves, Edwards, you could see him. He's going through his progressions right
Yeah,
now,
Doug,
and
this is the
it's
first
not
real
gonna
team
be
he played
pretty.
for.
It's not gonna be
It is,
pretty, man. I'll be
it's
honest with
because
you.
like Edwards has been in the playoffs, right, his whole career. But the thing is, those playoffs didn't mean shit. All it was like, oh, nice, Minnesota, the team who plays hard, night
Exactly.
in and night out, made the 8th seed. Now it's about dog. All right, what are you made of? You
No,
know?
Edwards is made for the playoffs, but mentally, like what I'm saying, mentally in crunch time this season, I believe the T Wolves are
Yeah,
the worst team in crunch time to start off this year, 2024.
yeah.
So right now they're
When,
having a lot of issues. They had a blowout. They blew a lead against Chicago, that overtime game that they had. The Hornets game they
yeah,
blew a lead against the Spurs. They blew a lead, and then you seen it last night. You saw that pass that Edwards made in that fourth quarter led to like what, a fast break windmill dunk by Powell.
yeah.
So yeah, you see what's
It's a
going on with the
problem, man.
T Wolves. It's it's
Yeah.
it's like
So it's
it's
something.
like it's a weird dynamic because Towns was that guy, and now
Yeah.
Edwards is the guy
But
now.
that's my point, right? I think like as a team, Minnesota now has to realize they're not that cute little team anymore that people are just happy to see in the playoffs. This team is expected to actually do something. Like people have written them off, but I like we were talking about fraud. Like we were written them off in the past, but now people are expecting them to like possibly make a Western Conference.
They can, but at the same time, they're playing through Anthony Edwards, and he's playing through his progressions. He's still going through it.
Yeah, of course.
I mean,
So I think he's gonna learn a lot in the playoffs.
We seen Jason Tatum in the past go through the same thing when he had the blunders
Yeah.
against Toronto. He had the blunders
Yep.
against Miami after making the finals. Yo,
Yep.
Edwards is going through the same thing right now, and it's
And
real
it's fine.
early.
I think it's a good thing for Minnesota. When you're a young guy, he's gonna progress, man. This is gonna be his first real playoff. Let's see how he does, man. He's gonna have a lot of hiccups, but it's gonna be a lot to learn. I think they put the right veterans around him, and I like a lot of their young guys. I like Nas Reed. I like Jaden McDaniels. It'll be interesting to see how far they do in the playoffs. Is Jaden right? Jaden McDaniels or Jalen
I
McDaniels?
think it's Jalen.
Is it Jalen? Because I know there's a Jalen in the NBA.
Nah, it's Jaden. It's Jaden. You're right. It's Jaden. So wait, hold on. Speaking, because
Yeah.
you said they had time, right? So they
But
technically
their
don't.
salary,
Yeah, their salary in the new CBA, they really don't have time.
they don't have time.
They don't have time. So next year, I'm looking at their salary cap right now, right? Their salary
Because they
sheet.
extended Conley to a handsome contract.
Yeah, but hold on. I'm looking at their salary sheet right now. Next
They
year,
have,
wait, hold
yeah.
on. Next year, without them even re-signing certain key guys, they're already at 175 million.
They signed.
Yeah,
You have
that's
Nas
way
Reed.
too high. That's way too
Nas
high.
Reed got extended. Jaden McDaniels got extended. Rudy Gobert got a new contract. I think I could be wrong. And Carl, I think Carl still has how many years in his contract?
Yeah, but right now, wait, hold on. Let me see how many players. One, two, three,
Because they're
four.
committed to a lot of contracts long term.
Okay, so right now they have 9 guys set up for next season, and they're
Yeah,
on the books for 175 million.
yeah.
That's a lot of money because
It's
the
not sustain. It's hard to build depth around these
yeah,
guys. Then.
like okay, so once they start getting deeper into that luxury tax, because I believe the number is 182. It's
Yeah,
182. So they're already at 175 with 9 players.
they're flirting with it.
Yeah, and then the following season it's even higher. They got
Yeah,
the same. They got 8 players for 186 million. This is an
because
expensive team.
they have Jaden McDaniels, Carl Anthony Towns, Rudy Gobert, Nas Reed, Anthony Edwards, and Mike Conley. Who else am I forgetting? I can only
Uh,
name those seven, I believe.
yeah, Jaden
Who's the other two?
McDaniels. Let me see.
Kyle's off the book soon, right?
No, hold on. They got Gobert, Towns, Edwards, McDaniels, Wendell Moore, and Leonard Miller. That's it. That's
I never heard of those two.
$186 million for 2025. But for
Yeah,
2024, next season, it's the same players minus one guy, and it's 176 million. So
right.
that McDaniels contract, when it kicks in, the T Wolves become expensive already.
Yeah, they're
So
gonna have to make trades, man. I don't know. They'll either have to. They're gonna keep maybe Carl Anthony Towns later down on the line, depending on where the Minnesota goes.
yo, but you know
They're
what?
gonna trade one of their older two players, and
Now
they're
you know
not
what it
gonna
is
trade away Nas or
for
Jaden.
them to really fix this right now. I would say Towns got to take more responsibility. You got to take more responsibility, man, because he can't just play the background guy to Edwards. He really
No,
can't.
he needs to be the second punch guy.
Yo, he needs to be almost at the same level as Edwards, just as
Yeah,
aggressive
that's what I'm saying. It
and
needs
take
to
and
be a
take
1A, one
responsibility.
B. It needs to be a 1A, 1B kind of thing.
Yeah, because yo, I'm
Because
telling you,
Rudy Gobert
Edwards.
is not.
I'm
Yeah,
telling you, Edwards after yesterday, Edwards showed, man, like he's not ready yet. He's not ready to in crunch time in the playoffs to be that guy to not turn over the ball in crucial moments. He ain't ready for that.
I mean, dog, with the amount of years Carl Anthony Towns has played, right? What real playoff experience does Carl Anthony Towns have?
And that's the problem with this team.
Yeah, like not, outside of Gobert and Conley, right? There's not much experience within the core.
Yeah, you know what? You saying that? No, Mike Conley is probably the balance.
Yeah, Mike Conley and Rudy Gobert have like the most experience in the because they made the second round and Conley made the Western Conference, so he's really that only guy who's seen real success.
Yeah, it's a weird roster that they got, but they're
Yeah,
gonna have to make it work, man, because it's gonna get expensive. And once you pass the second apron in the salary cap, you can't pick up certain guys anymore. It's hard to make two for
yeah.
one trades. Shit starts
They'll
getting
have to do
complicated.
minimum like players out of the door, those kind of ordeals.
Yeah, yeah. So the T Wolves I'm looking at right here, they blew a 10-point lead against the Hornets when Towns dropped 62 points. Against the
Yeah,
Spurs,
that was
they
the one
blew
where
the lead.
Chris Finch was pissed, where he's like,
Yeah.
"We're just
Yo,
yeah." I
what is
remember that.
what is up with Towns in that game? What happened?
Bro, Towns loves numbers, dog.
Yeah, because he did look like he was stat padding, but I couldn't tell because
Yeah,
the Hornets defense was non-existent. It was
this
hard
is
to
before
tell.
them in the trades. Yeah,
It was hard to tell. But
bro, but we love stats, man. You saw it in the All Star game.
mhm.
Like Carl Anthony Towns was the only one in the West that played actual basketball, or at least tried to play basketball, where everyone
Yeah.
was sleepwalking.
Yeah, but low key, Edwards this season, he had some good matchups against Tatum. The overtime
Bro,
games with
Edwards,
Boston.
Edwards is a superstar, man. But like I said, let's see how it goes, because like now Minnesota is a team that the expectations are of a playoff experience team, but they have none.
Mhm. Yeah, the
So
only
like yeah,
yeah, I like I said, Edwards as he goes through his progressions is gonna be tough. But right now in crunch time, the only teams that got more turnovers than the Timberwolves is the Pelicans, Grizzlies, Spurs, and Blazers.